Do you want to maybe tell us a little bit about your story, and then we'll we'll touch on things? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Are you able to do
Yeah,
that?
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, totally. So 23 years old, I was going to nursing school. I wanted to be a nurse, but I kind of got a little disenchanted with it because I realized I had also worked as an EMT before, and I just didn't really want to go to work every day and see people suffer. I love helping people, but I didn't want that weighing on me every day. So it's kind of, feel a little down about it. And my girlfriend knows that I love to write. I have so many filled up notebooks and journals in my room. It's insane, but I just can't bring myself to get rid of them. So they're just going to turn into this giant monster of journals and notebooks everywhere that someone will have to do something. Someone will have to do something with it when I'm dead. But, so she sent me the link to your little YouTube course, and I was like, oh, this is cool. It's like writing for a living. And then I checked it out and looked at it, and I was like, you make $200 on a blog post? I was like, I didn't know that. So I checked it out, and I found you on YouTube and all your YouTube channels or YouTube videos, and then all this stuff on copywriting. I mean, copywriting has like consumed my YouTube feed and my Facebook recommended, like just everything. All the ads for me now are just all copywriting stuff, and just everything is copywriting now. And so I just devoured tons of YouTube content on it and everything. And I was like, okay, I really like this. And I talked back and forth with Grant Medford, who's in the group.
Yeah.
And awesome. Yeah. And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it. And I dived in and got the course, and I just completely went like full bore, went like crazy into it. Between my full-time job as a cook and the course I was doing, and copywriting in general, I was doing like 60 or 80 hours a week when I like really got my stride into it. It was ridiculous. And so I finished the course before I finished the 30-day handwriting challenge. I think, I'm pretty sure, because I remember it was like ironic and funny to me, but I was like, woohoo.
That's insane.
But so I did it, and got my like website portfolio, like I was talking about in the Facebook video before it decided to, go derp on us. I didn't like get everything polished and pretty and perfect before I started doing the work. I just kind of let it grow with me, because I'm a perfectionist. I want things to look pretty and look great before I really throw myself out there. And I was like, can't do that. Yeah, I just kind of do it. And so I did. And so it's just kind of grown with me. And I am more of an introverted person than I am an extroverted person. So I know I've been really throwing myself at this just relentlessly, completely out of my comfort zone, getting on the client calls, doing this video, Facebook Live, Zoom meeting thing. I was like, you sent me the email, and I was like, I don't want to do that. And then I was like, but I could share it on my Facebook feed, and it would be kind of credibility for me. And I was like, what the hell? I'll do it. Sure.
Nice.
So yeah. And so like the video conferencing calls and stuff like that. And I don't think I talked about it on the Facebook Live video, but there was a guy wanting to interview new entrepreneurs for his podcast. And I was like, dude, I started during the COVID thing. I like started and grew during the pandemic. So me. And so he wants to get me on his podcast and stuff like that. And just really kind of get out of my comfort zone, trying to grow. It's been really cool. But yeah, having some luck and success.
I want to make sure we tell the story about your girlfriend's mom.
Yeah, so before I had any portfolio, any work or anything, my girlfriend's mom has a furniture remodeling business and all kinds of she does kitchens and everything. She does really cool work. And she had a Shopify store, and she would buy old furniture, and then she would redo it, make it look awesome, and resell it. And she was doing maybe, a piece or two every 2 or 3 weeks. So I looked at her store, her page, everything, and I was like, hey, your SEO isn't that great. And she was like, what's SEO? And I was like, SEO, not CO. And I was like, oh, Lord. And so I was like, let me rewrite some of this for you. Let me go in and do some of this SEO stuff, rewrite your descriptions. Just let me redo some of this for you. If you don't like it, then don't do it. But let me do it for you. And you don't have to pay me for it, but if you like it, give me a testimonial. How's that sound? She's like, fine. And so I did it, rewrote it for her, did this SEO stuff, product description stuff, filled out, just redid it for her. And she went from selling 1 or 2 things every 2 or 3 weeks to selling 1 or 2 things every week. Nice. So it was awesome. And so she immediately saw it, and then I saw it, and that was my first thing doing any sort of copywriting. So I was like, I need to figure out exactly what percentage she went up, because I am using that immediately in like my credibility stuff in my portfolio.
And it's also really good because you get to see the power in it, right? Because that's the like,
yeah, because
you're like,
before that, before that, I was kind of like, okay, copywriting, like it makes things look better, I suppose.
Right.
But then
like,
I saw that and I was like,
yeah,
their profits just went up by like at least 110%.
yeah,
And I was like,
yeah. And
well,
then
I guess this
like,
works then.
Yeah, and then you see like, okay, the writing I do brings tremendous value to businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And you start realizing like, okay, this is worth what I'm charging. Like it all just kind of like builds on itself. You're like, okay, the theory, you see it in action. You're like, dang, I just helped that business so much. Like, it's the best.
Yeah, that was kind of the catalyst that was like, okay, I want to do this. This makes me feel good.
And you're like, helping people.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was really cool.
So you're in the e-commerce niche. You want to talk a little bit about
that? Yeah, that's kind of where I've settled. I like it. It's really easy to track the analytics and stuff with e-commerce stuff, and it's really easy to outreach to them. Little, not pro tip, but secretly pro tip. You can go to a website called Shopee Stores, and then it comes up with a search bar, and you can search any niche, and it will bring up every Shopify store in that niche. It comes up with their website, what it's called, and what their best-selling product is. And I'm just like, lead list, and I just go, it's like, I searched like outdoor survival stuff because I like camping and stuff, and it was like, here's 1,284 websites that you can reach out to. It's just like a giant list of them with that information, and I was like, that's gold.
That's amazing. And that's how you started, though. You didn't start in e-commerce, right? Like you,
nope,
I like your,
nope.
Will you retell the story of your journey?
I started with like the Christian market. I saw like Sarah Sherstad and Alexandra Aodish and them and Grant Medford, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. And so I started in that, and then realized that my beliefs differ a little bit from everybody else, and I felt kind of icky writing some of the stuff because I didn't believe it. And I was like, okay, something else. Right. And then I went into like personal development, like coaches, therapists, counselors, and I was like, oh, this is cool. But I wasn't super excited for it, and I was like, I don't want to like get a bunch of clients if I'm not super excited for it now, because if I'm not super excited for it now, I'm not going to be super excited for it when I have to actually do the work. So I was like, all right, I need to find something else. And so I went on YouTube and literally just typed in best copywriter niche, because I was like, I don't know, and I want to make a little bit of money, because I was like, okay, best copywriter niche. And your video popped up, why e-commerce is a fantastic niche for new copywriters. And I was like, there's Sarah again. Click. And so I watched it, and I was like, okay, I like it. I can really niche down in e-commerce if I want to. I can be a little bit broader in e-commerce if I want to.
E-commerce is so broad. It's like everything that's sold online. So basically you're like, okay, they're selling things online. I know they have incentive to want to like sell things better. That's what we do as copywriters. Like, it's just,
yeah. And with like everyone having to go online right now, I know e-commerce just like exploded with everyone being like, all right, I need to sell online. Yeah. I know one guy I was talking with from that like lead generation list that I found at Shopee Stores. He was like, yeah, I've been doing it all myself, and it's just a lot of work and it takes a lot of time. And I was like, what a coincidence, because I can do that for you. He was like, really, can you do this and this? And I was like, I can do this, and that, my man. He was like, oh, fantastic, let's hop on a call. And I was like,
your attitude is so awesome. I gotta say, it's really nice to hear from a guy too in this heavy group.
Yeah, I know that was one of my very first questions to you, because I emailed you when I first started getting the emails, and I was like, is your group just for women, or is it with men too? I didn't see any men. I was like,
I know.
Yeah.
I guess women really resonate with the way I talk. I don't know.
Yeah.
Never was intent. I thought it would be like equal men and women, and here we are. So.
Funny enough, my dad, he just turned 50, and he's an electrical engineer for the city I live in. And he's like so fed up, and he was like, this copywriting thing, do you guys like, can you write like white papers and like things like just the most boring things, because he's an engineer and he likes math and boring things. And I was like, yeah, they write white papers and all these kinds of like technical like data writing and like all this technical stuff. He was like, because I don't like working for the people I work anymore. I want to work for myself. And I was like, awesome.
Yeah.
So I gave him my affiliate link for Write Your Freedom, and he's actually in here now. He's like a super introvert, and he probably won't say anything to anyone, but he's in here somewhere.
Really?
So I got him to do it. And then my mom also is doing it. I'm like trying to help them and like tutor them on how to do it.
That is amazing.
But yeah, because they're like, we're done with this whole work thing. We want to retire and lounge on a sailboat in the Caribbean, just sell everything, go live on a boat. I was like, oh, that's cool. And so they're both like getting into it.
Yes.
So yeah.
I want to make sure we touch on the things you were talking about, just because I'll probably delete that video because this is already so much better.
Yeah, this is so much better.
So you were talking about some of the books and stuff that you've read and things like that.
Yeah,
really
I read. So I mean, first and foremost, The Slight Edge. Read that. I'm rereading it right now because it's so good. Yeah. It's like everything to succeed, you already know how to do. You just got to keep doing it. Like, you're right. You're so right. And it's like, but I don't want to keep doing those things. It's like, that's the point of the book.
Yeah.
And then I know someone asked about like, well, how'd you learn to write sales letters and stuff like that? And I was like, well, first of all, the other mentor that I have, Carlos Redlick, and then a book that I read that was really awesome is called Copywriting Secrets by Jim Edwards. It's got a guy with like a white beard. He looks like, I don't know if I should say like Trailer Park Gandalf. That's kind of what he looks like.
You can say
but he's all doing this on the front page, and it's like a black and purple book. But the book just has so many like golden nuggets of awesome knowledge in it. It's like, did you know there's a 13-step process to writing a killer sales letter? And I was like, I did not. Enlighten me, Jim Edwards. And so it's just so many cool pieces that you can incorporate, and just it all, like, looking at so many different copywriters and so many different ways of doing copy, you start to see the things blending together, like all these different ways of doing it really blend together. And it's like, this is how, like, the language of copy, it's like, this is how you do it. You just kind of learn it.
It's
but
true.
Yeah,
it's really interesting to me because so many, like, everyone, like, different people resonate with different people. Yeah. And when you start like going through it, like, I don't know, we always have like our person that we like really resonate with, but it's going to be different from the next person, but it's still all like this umbrella of information that, kind of like, it all is somewhat similar, but like slightly different. And I think that's the same for like the copywriting and the style that we bring to our copy. You know what I mean? Like, you probably tend to write for, I'm guessing, e-commerce stores that you would buy from.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like, for you to talk to the people who are going to buy from that store is it comes more naturally to you because they're your people. Like,
Yeah. One of the stores that I reached out to with a super, super personalized email was a store that I bought from. I bought a hammock from them, and it's like the most amazing hammock ever. It's amazing. And I'm like, hey, I bought this and it was awesome. Like, yada, yada, yada. I'd love to write for you. And I sent that earlier today. So hopefully, fingers crossed. But yeah, it's just
thing that I love about cold emailing is like, even when you don't really need to do it all the time, sometimes you'll come across a company that you're like, I really want to write.
Yeah, I know one of the questions was like, how'd you get clients so quickly? And I had clients initially, and then I had two that were like, let's work on a month-to-month basis. And I was like, yes, awesome. And then the whole, like, the writing and that kind of stuff kind of happened. And one of them was in Chicago. And then the other client was right smack dab in Minneapolis, and both of their physical locations got looted, and they like emailed me, both of them, I think like 2 days apart. They were like, hey, this happened. We can't really continue with you right now. And I was just like, oh, back to square one. But just like really putting my nose to the grindstone and, putting out those cold emails and stuff. I turned the faucet back on. The leads started coming back in, and now I'm working with them and getting that rolling again. I think I have 5 active leads right now. 2 of them have already paid me for like little test projects, and we're moving forward. So
yeah, that's amazing. I love that. You've done it so like fast and in the middle of a pandemic. And that is just like, I don't know, really inspiring to me, because obviously I've never been through a pandemic before. I was like, oh no, how's it gonna affect everyone? But
Yeah.
Digital marketing is thriving. Like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. I know some of the people that I talk to, they're like, we had a brick and mortar store and we've never really gone online. And they're like, I watched some YouTube videos and apparently this is something I need. And I was like, yeah, let me help you out. And I always do like the calls and stuff. Like the first half of the call is always me just giving them like advice, like, hey, you can do this, this, and this. You know, this is something you could do that would really help you. I think if you were to do this, it would really help you. And then when that kind of phase of the call is over, I'm like, hey, would you be interested in talking about how we could work together on this? And I have never heard someone say no. It's always like,
I love that, because so often people are like afraid to give away good ideas on client calls to people, because they're like, well, if I give away my good ideas, they won't have any incentive to work with me. And I'm like, that is not my experience. Like, it's all wisdom, and then they're like, damn, I need to with you.
Yeah. Because like, even if they know how to execute it perfectly, like you tell them how to do it, they don't want to do it. They don't want to do the work. They want you to do it. And now they know that you know what you're talking about. But that's always how I kind of do my client calls. How I structure them is I just like dump a ton of value on them first. And then I use that same line. I'm like, would you be interested in talking about how we could work together on this? And I've never heard a no on that.
Yes. That is such good advice. That is such good advice. I love hearing someone else. Everybody has their own way of putting their spin on it. But yes, give the value. And people
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like I said, I've never had someone be like, no, I'm good. Thanks for the call. It's always like, yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah. What would be, do you have any advice for someone who's like just starting out or like thinking about it, or just like, what would you tell yourself in like January of this year?
Ooh, you don't think you're going to be any good at it and you feel like there's no way you're going to get into it. But if you just really come at it with the right attitude and put the effort in, you learn how to do it very quickly. You are completely capable of being a good copywriter in not a whole lot of time if you put in the effort to it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember that. I remember our first back and forth emails, especially the one where you were like, where are all the guys? I was like,
yeah.
I don't know. Here's one.
Yeah. Here's Grant. Talk to him.
Yes, basically it. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's because I talk a lot about like emotion and intuition. Probably guys are like, okay.
Yeah, but that's like such the biggest part of copywriting is using emotion. You know, people buy with their emotions and then they justify it with their logic, but it's always the emotion that gets them. It's like me when I write like copy, like sales letters or emails or anything like that. I almost always try to put stories in there because people love stories and I love writing stories. And so I always try to put stories or something in as much stuff as I can.
Yeah, for sure. Such a like, I don't know, it's just very refreshing to talk to you, and I love your attitude. It's so good.
Thank you.
So thank you, and thank you for re-recording this, because
oh yeah, no problem. Yeah,
so much better already. So yeah, is there anything you want to add? Did we say
right?
Oh, go ahead.
What's that?
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say the Write Your Way to Freedom group. Like, if you're scared to post something because you think, oh, I don't know what I'm talking about, these people are gonna look down on me. Like, that's not it at all. Like, I had that same thought, and I was like, I don't want to post this asking this question because these people are gonna think, you know, I'm a dummy. And I was like, what the heck? And I posted it, and I got so much like constructive criticism. I don't even want to call it criticism, just like so much help and just value from people and people genuinely wanting you to succeed and do well. It was very refreshing. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Like, there will be someone that's like, yeah, either here's like my answer for you, or yeah, I'm in the same boat. And so, yeah.
And then was it on the, I'm just not sure if we said it here or in the Facebook, but that quote you said that you got from like some person you follow on Instagram.
Oh yeah, I followed a random business coach on Instagram because I was like, man, I need some motivation. I'm not really feeling it today. And because it was when I was still working full time, and so I was doing, you know, crazy hours. And the quote was, the 9 to 5 pays the bills, the 6 to 12 builds the empire. And I was like, all right, You got to put in the work. Got to put in the work. Yeah.
So good. So good.
Yeah, I'll find that and I'll post it in the group.
Yeah, I think we covered everything that we covered in the Facebook Live and more. But
I think so.
Thank you so much for
thank you so much
with us, and it's been such a pleasure having you in the group. So
yeah, it's been a pleasure being in the group for sure.
Cool. Well, stay in touch. I can't wait to hear secure that $10,000 deal that you got going on.
Yeah, for real. I'm still kind of just blown away by that. Because I was like, there's no way you can make that much money from a single deal. That's ridiculous. And then, I kind of put it out there and he was like, oh yeah, that's a real good deal for 3 sales letters. And I was like, I tried to sound so confident and everything, and I didn't want my voice to fluctuate, but I was like, yeah, that's a good deal. Because in my mind, I was like, that's so much money. he was acting like it was such a great, a steal of a deal. And I was like,
think about it,
what?
You're getting the deal out of this. If your 3 sales letters bring him $100,000, $200,000.
Exactly.
For him. That's a great deal.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I love copywriting because it's about the value that your writing brings, not exchanging anymore,
Yeah, I know. And I guess I could just add on, there are a couple things that I do a little bit different that I know a lot of people in the group kind of advocate for. I got one of the very first deals I ever did, I got burned by someone that didn't want to pay the other 50% of the money. Right off the bat, I got burned by someone. I was like, this is dumb. I don't like this. This isn't for me. And so just from talking with other people, I was like, I wonder if people would be receptive to just paying it up front or doing a payment plan. And I haven't encountered any resistance whatsoever from people just paying everything up front. I'm like, well, that's how I want to do it then. Because I know I see so many people in the group just being like, this person hasn't paid me in 3 or 4 weeks. What do I say? And I'm just like, that's awful. I would hate to be in that situation. So I kind of did it that way, just up everything up front. And I haven't had any resistance from it. I was like, okay, cool. Yeah.
Share that because that's my experience too. The reason I recommend the 50% up front is because some people are just, they don't have a website. They're starting out. And so I think it's a way to kind of build rapport when you're first starting out. But once you have the confidence in your own work and you're going to deliver, it would be so harmful for your reputation for you to not deliver on whatever the project is.
Exactly. Because my other mentor, the Carlos Redlick guy, he says, just everything, up front and everything. And he's like, because this is what happens if you don't deliver. And it was a disgruntled client made a website about a copywriter that burned them. A full website about this guy being like, don't work with this guy. He's terrible. He didn't meet his deadlines. He didn't give good work. And this whole website. And I was like, oh, that's awful. Exactly. Note to self, don't do that. Yeah.
But I think is still a good way when you're first starting out, getting that first, $200 project and you're like, crap.
You're like, this is for real. I have to do this now.
Yeah.
I have a week to get this done.
Right. And then, building the rapport with the client so that they trust you. And then you build your confidence. And then you get to a place where you are. Because that's the other thing about this course is so many things I can tell you, but until you've actually been burned, then you have that confidence. I'm not going to do 50-50 anymore. I'm going to charge up front because I got burned one time. And I think that you got to learn it yourself. I can only tell you what it's like so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
The same thing with charging enough. Some people are like, well, can I really charge that much for something? I'm going to charge less. I see that a lot. And then they charge less because they're not confident in their ability. And then they're like, damn, I wish I charged more. That was so much time and effort and energy, and it was worth so much more money. But they have that lesson to pull on the next time they go to charge a client because they know, I didn't charge enough last time,
I know. I didn't think that a lot of the things that I wrote were worth even the amount I was charging, even less than what I was charging. But I was like, this is what multiple people recommended I charge for this. So I'm going to charge this. And the lady that I just closed earlier today for that $1,000, it's for emails at $125 per email.
Yes.
Awesome. Happy to pay it. It's 8 emails for $1,000. That blows my mind. Even right up there with the sales letters and stuff, the 10K. Like, really? Like $1,000 for something you can get done in a day? Like, what?
Yeah, but you're gonna do probably a better job because you're actually studying the craft, and like that's super important.
Yeah, I know emails is probably one of the things I've spent the most, like invested the most in and learned the most about.
Yeah.
Like just how to build autoresponders, how to work with MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, how to do, just newsletters, how they differ, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
Well, awesome. It was such a pleasure talking to you.
yeah, it was awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right. I'll talk to you later. Bye,
All right,
Brian.
sounds good. Bye, Sarah.